Introduced podcast. I'm Emily Harman.
I'm Guen Douglas.
Today I'm introducing Gwen to some Cypriot wine. So we've already tried one wine before on a previous podcast, which was the sweet wine Commandaria.
Which was taking us to church. It was delicious.
Taking us to church, exactly. So today we've got a few other things to taste. I just thought it'd be interesting to start introducing these grape varieties because I hadn't heard of any of them before. So I think it would be interesting to get involved with them. So we've got, actually they're all from the same winery because this was my favourite winery from the trip. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. There's no marketing pitch, and I'm not importing them or anything. So
they're just delicious.
There is no gain for me from again promoting the same winery, but I think that's just good to put that disclaimer out there so no one thinks that. So we've got white wine, a skin contact wine, and we have the Cypriot version of grappa.
Ooh la la!
Yeah. So I was a bit unsure of what to bring initially, so I was thinking, do I bring Xynisteri is kind of the main grape varietal in Cyprus, white grape, but I've actually bought skin contact one, and the Zivania, which is the name of the grappa, is made with Xynisteri grapes. But I actually bought a different grape variety that I thought was quite interesting that people are going back to. So you might ask, why are we even tasting Cypriot wine? Do you have any questions? You probably have some questions.
I've never had Cypriot wine, so I don't think so anyway. Unless I've had some with you.
Yeah, so like 80% of the wine produced in Cyprus stays in Cyprus, is consumed.
What's made in Cyprus stays in Cyprus.
Yeah.
Sexy. Okay.
Sexy and scary at the same time. Yeah.
I like it. It means it's good and they want to keep it.
Yeah, and also it's it's the same in terms of their olive oil production. Most of what is there is consumed there. There's not much exported, but equally not too much imported from other places as well. So it's a real sort of local market, and it's quite an interesting place. The landscape's absolutely stunning, and I know that a lot of our English audience will, or British audience will be familiar with Cyprus because obviously it's a popular English holiday,
yeah, of course.
And it's a very funny place. I was staying in Paphos, and you kind of have this sort of mixed. It's a very bizarre thing. You're walking down the street and Sainsbury's is there, Debenhams is there.
Weird.
It's bizarre. And then like we got to stay in a very nice hotel, and I think it was one of the nicest hotels in Paphos. At least we were told that.
Okay.
But it was like. No, and I do believe that.
That's just really funny. We were told it was the nicest. We're not sure.
No, I think I think it was
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's really nice. God, I've really got to watch myself. And then
or not. I like it.
But it did have a very strong vibe of retirement cruise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
A lot of English.
It's my style.
Mature English audience. So and I can say that because I think a lot of them probably wouldn't be tuning in to Juice. But it was so you sort of have this very strong English retirement vibe to Cyprus, but then obviously this sort of Greek Turkish influence.
Yeah, cool.
Food's amazing. And then the wine business is quite interesting. So highest vineyards, or some of the highest vineyards in the whole of Europe.
Okay.
So up to 1,400 meters, which is incredibly high. Like Grados Mountains in Spain is like 1,000, 1,100. There is an area in Spain, Cuenca, which has quite high vineyards as well, which are going over 1,000 meters. And different pockets, but yeah, Cyprus up there. And you need the altitude actually because for the freshness. Okay. So no phylloxera has ever been present in Cyprus.
Just the type of soil? Soils and just it's too high.
Well, it's not all sandy because there's a lot of limestone. So the vineyards have these super bright white soils.
Oh wow!
Quite striking actually because you have this sort of very, very, very blue sky and sort of ocean in the distance, and then this piercing white soil in the vineyards. So not because of sand. When you speak to a lot of the producers there, they think it's just down to luck. And I'm sure that's maybe because of the historical factors.
Have other high vineyards also, like the other high vineyards, have also been affected in the past? Like the really altitude ones?
Yeah, I think so.
So I was like, does phylloxera not climb?
That little louse gets like 500 metres, like, I can't breathe.
Yeah. I don't know.
That would be quite funny. That would be a funny little comedic little sketch, wouldn't it? Just like, no, I don't think it's about altitude. So I think it's just luck. Really, it's just luck.
Cool. Good for them.
But so But, so then you would assume, okay, no phylloxera, old vines, ungrafted.
No.
So there is ungrafted indigenous varietals.
Okay.
However, political situation, for whatever reason. So Cyprus has an incredibly long history. I think it's about 4,000 years of producing wine in Cyprus. It might be a little bit more than that actually, but it's quite a long history. There were breaks in terms of the commercial production during the Ottomans and different things, but the vineyards, most of the old vineyards with indigenous varietals were uprooted in the 80s because they were paid by the government to uproot and plant either international varietals or other agricultural crops.
I guess they were trying to like make themselves more
marketable to the outside world and maybe help the economy.
Really
so a lot of people were like, screw it, get rid of this, I get some
fair
cash
enough.
immediately.
There are definitely moments in history where people have no romanticism about the past.
I mean,
like,
no offense, you're a smoker, but smoking, come on.
Yeah.
Cigarettes were sold as this sexy thing. No one was like, by the way, you're gonna fucking die if you smoke one. Like, there's so much stuff that we are given that is packaged so differently.
It's happening now again with vaping. Where it's like, because my sister was like, I'm pretty sure that vaping just like shreds your lungs to bits. Like, people are gonna find out that like smoking is better for you than vaping probably at some point.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No.
I had a big argument with a man who was vaping in a flight who refused to stop vaping. And I was like, if you do not stop vaping, I'm about to report you. And he was like,
such a hall monitor.
Well, because I was totally a hall monitor.
Hey!
Yeah, you can't do that.
You've been living in Germany too long. You're self-policing now.
I know.
Stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't do that. Don't do this.
I know, it's so true. It's so true. I was staring at him, but I was like, that's not right. Yeah, because it
does smell like blueberry muffins or something. But it's always something like that. Strawberries.
Yeah, no, but I think it annoyed me because he was just there and he was sort of like, and then he'd tuck it away, but he'd still hold it in his hand so you could still see it, and then he'd like, and I caught him doing it and he just stared at me and I was like, and I just said to him, I was like, you shouldn't be doing that.
Next time you do that, you have to like do the caterpillar bit from Alice in Wonderland and be like, who? Who? Get out of here, you shouldn't be doing that.
I know, it was, and then he just sort of looked at
Miss!
me. And he was like,
what are you gonna do about it?
well, he was just like, why? And I was like, because it's not allowed.
Also they say
and he's like, but I'm not smoking. I was like, it's a confined space, and all these people don't get a choice.
Yeah.
To suck in your vape. Like, come on, it's respect for your people around you.
It's also
and then he was like, oh, okay, and I was like, seriously, if you do it again, I'm telling them, up to you. Because it annoyed me that, because he went to do it another time, and I was like, that ain't happening on my watch. It was really bad. Well, you don't know, there were so many people there that would be oblivious, but like at one point there was a full little puff cloud above him, and I'm like, come on, man, like go at least go in the loo and do it so I don't see you.
Totally.
Because I'm watching you.
I live in Germany.
Yes.
I can see you.
In Germany, we tell people what they can and can't do, and if they don't follow the law, we all can tell them off.
Yes.
Oh, that drives me mad.
It's true, and I like it.
I love it and hate it. I like it when I'm doing it.
I don't like it when someone tells me, don't stand there. And
don't take your dog off the lead. What are you talking about?
I have it.
Don't take your dog off the lead.
No, you can't bring your luggage into first class on the train. It's literally you and me. You're not my mum, I think I said. She was like, oh, it's true. I'm not your mum.
Good point.
Yeah. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my real mum. It freaks people out when you say that.
Yeah.
It's like have a tantrum.
Anyway, tangent, Juice Podcast tangent. The tangent segment is over. So we were back to
sexy things, like uprooting things in the 80s, making way for new global either products or produce, and they replanted international
varietals. Yeah, so now what we're seeing is from that period of time, the sort of next generation, so sort of people between sort of 20 and let's say 35 that are taking over from their parents, that are travelling a bit more because they've done enology degrees in different countries. So people doing their wine school in Geisenheim in Germany, or going down to Bordeaux or New Zealand or Australia, met all of these different younger winemakers that had gone overseas, so they'd seen a different side of things actually, and seen how different people were producing. So still dealing with that side of quite winemaker style wines in a lot of cases, where they're sort of following what they were taught at wine school and don't quite have the confidence to sort of break away into a more, let's say, natural style yet. But I think it's
coming.
Actually, we're at the point where
cool.
things are starting to get interesting. So what we're seeing is everybody moving back towards the indigenous varietals, mostly because they have to, because with climate change as well, what they're finding is they have an incredibly long harvest, because the international varietals are ripening at the end of July, early August.
Oh my god.
The indigenous varietals are being picked early October, so they have one of the longest harvest periods in the whole of Europe, because they're starting basically at the end of July and going through till the end of October. So it's a long time, and they realise that actually a lot of these international grape varieties don't cope in the heat. Yeah. Whereas the indigenous ones don't ripen, and they're drought resistant as well. Yeah. And so you do find pockets of older vineyards, like I was trying some Xynisteri from 150 years old, and again everyone's replanted and grafted. So it's an exciting time, and they're all replanting back with indigenous varietals. So I think watch this space for Cyprus, because it's the start. I think it's the start of something, and the history of like Commandaria, Zivania and stuff. I think those wines are still and have been high quality, but they've always been made from the indigenous varietals. So let's start tasting maybe.
Do we know where to buy Cypriot wines here in Berlin?
No.
In the UK?
In the UK, there is a little bit from a few different importers. The only shop I know in London is Berry Brothers and Rudd. They have Keeper and Dirt, but there are...
I guess online these days.
Yeah, online you can get them. Yeah. Tsiakkas, so we've got all the products we're trying today, same producer as the Commandaria from last week. And we... I just love this, because I think for me one of my favourite wineries.
So if you're listening, or not watching, she's using the Corvin again. So she's that sounds weird.
Yeah, which is why there's an extra sort of squirty noise. This is quite good. It works out your arm muscles much more. I'm like, come on, man, hurry up, man.
So that's what we need. Wine, sort of, what is that thing that they call the guys that are doing like CrossFit? Wine CrossFit, there we go.
Oh my god, imagine a sommelier that does CrossFit. They'd be the most antisocial person in the world.
There's lots in Germany.
Yeah, I mean that explains everything. Egos and non-stop like sound
flipping tires.
Yeah. Anyway.
Smells already.
Fanatics, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the Promara, is the grape variety.
Wow, it's got a really...
Bollocks, sorry, I just got wine all over the floor on my knee.
It's alright.
Yeah, no one saw the floor. But so this is the 2018 Promara from Tsiakkas winery. So son's now making the wines, along with, I think his dad's still involved. But yeah, quite an interesting guy, because he is really, I think, actually one of the most exciting wineries. So they have around 5 hectares, all organic, and looking to plant more indigenous varietals. They do have a little bit of Sauvignon, which apparently does quite well where they are. They're in Pelendri village, which is up in the Trollos mountains, and this particular wine the vineyards are planted between 700 and 900 metres altitude. Has 4 days, a little bit of like skin contact before, and 6 months on the lees. So keeping the wines on the lees is something that's quite common with the white varietals, because in general they tend to be a little bit lighter in terms of alcohol percentage, and sometimes, particularly Xynisteri. Xynisteri can be like 11% alcohol, and it can be, I don't want to say weak, but incredibly subtle.
Okay.
So if it's not on lees, it's actually that lees contact gives it a bit of makes it a little bit more interesting. Promara, for me, is a bit more of an interesting varietal, at least immediately. It does quite well with a little bit of oak, and I like that it's a little bit more exotic, slightly tropical, almost melony sort of character.
This is a very interesting smell.
You're getting a bit of toastiness there.
Something was like, not chalky, but like dusty, kind of like, it's probably my glass.
But they all have this almost like lemon barley water kind of note to me. Like it really, it takes me back to an English summer as a child.
Very fresh.
But yeah, fresher, lighter. It's interesting as well, they have a little bit of our tests from Savoie planted there as well, and a lot of the Cypriots are like, it was here before Savoie. I'm like, are you sure about that? Like, I still haven't, the jury's still out on that. Yeah, like it's not, I don't know what the real answer is on that, where it comes from, but I do find that in their whites that they are very, very subtle, sort of fresher, lighter styles as well. So it'd be interesting to see what people do in the future with these varietals, to see if they play around with more skin contact, or maybe leave the grapes even longer on the vine, I don't know, or maybe crop less and try and concentrate them a bit more. But yeah,
I could see this being very refreshing on a hot day. Yeah. It totally has like a cucumber skin, like
yes.
Think about it.
So this is 11% alcohol. So it's
super easy.
light. Yeah. Is a mix of sandy and volcanic soils here as well, so that also adds to the sort of freshness, almost salty, chalky. Yeah.
And I like the little bitter finish. There's a little like.
What I found about these when I was there, they're just so easy to drink. You can just almost, they're like grazing wines. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just like graze through the day with one.
But there is a little like apple pip or something at the end, like a little like.
Melon, a little bit of papaya, apple for sure, this lovely citrusy water feel. Yeah, very subtle.
Yeah, but a super easy.
Yeah, so organic as well. At the moment, most people in Cyprus are using selected yeasts, and I think it'll be much more interesting when more people start to experiment with indigenous yeast. Yeah, there are a number of producers that recognise how important it is to farm organically. So there's obviously Tsiakkas, one of them, another one called Sangarides, another one Marcos Zambatas as well. Very, very interesting producers just to check out, and I think they will be the producers that really start to pave the way for the direction of what's going to happen. Yeah.
So what was the grape again for this one? This was the
Promara.
Yeah,
so this is indigenous.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's subtle, but it's also very nice. I see what you mean about the grazing, because does have that sort of watery, easy. You don't really need to eat with it. It's not so heavy that it's like you won't get super boozed up.
It almost feels like you're not drinking alcohol.
It's like a wine spritz already.
Yes, it is. Be great for the German market.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Don't bother with the Scholle.
Just straight out of the.
Well, actually, that's technically better for the planet, because we all know bottled water is like one of the worst things for the planet anyway.
So you don't have to then buy the bottled water.
Yeah, make a more ecological choice, Berliners. The vegan sustainability capital of Europe.
Yes. The vegan.
That should just be called fuck bottled water. Drink Cypriot.
You've just given Cypriot wine their new.
Yeah.
Take that to the bank.
Yes, I am the Don Draper of the wine world. Just come to me for any marketing campaigns. I've got your back.
That'd be a fun episode.
If you don't like it, leave my office.
See how many like taglines you can come out with in 60 minutes. Someone just gives you like, or in a minute, just gives you a word, and you have to like.
Well, okay. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck. No, you don't like it. That's cool. Find somebody else. I'll take it. Oh. Mad Men, the greatest show on earth.
I still haven't watched it.
Oh my god, and you would love it, because you were basically like a character from Mad Men. You'll know when you watch it who you are, but there is one person that is totally you. In a really good way. She's very.
I need a new show.
She's very, very glamorous.
Okay. I've been rewatching Drag Race all the time, so Lucas is sick of. I think he knows more of the like songs by heart than he cares to admit. He's like, sashay away.
Oh god. I can actually imagine him, because he has this very sort of camp.
He refuses to watch it.
Oh really?
Which is funny, because like, my sister and her husband got really into it. She sent me a video of him doing a death drop at a club. Not that long
What's
ago.
a death drop?
So you like fall backwards with like one leg bent. Looks like you've
fainted.
Yes, sort of. Ooh. What is this we have here? In the
yes. So I had to really talk him into selling me a bottle of this, because they have an experimental range, which were the best wines, of course.
Obviously.
It's always like, hey, let's push some boundaries, but my dad doesn't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a skin contact Xynisteri. It's orange, so it's their orange wine. It's 2018. Hasn't got a label. Only it's just called orange wine as well.
I love it. Yeah.
So they had run out. I think they make a very small amount, and I just said to him, I was like, "Can you just give me a bottle of that? Because I think I want to take that back and try it again. Because it's so very interesting when you're in the place, and it's like,
of course, the romance and the view and the smells and
and just like being in Cyprus with the sunshine. So you're just
it's like drinking Ricard or pastis in Paris, and then you come home and you're like sitting on your sofa with a pastis, being like, it's not quite as glamorous.
If it still tastes as good in the crappy, wet, damp weather of Berlin, then you know it's all right wine. Yes.
That's the test.
Yeah.
So, orange wine.
Orange wine with Xynisteri. So Xynisteri being the grape variety that's used mainly for Comandoro, but the sort of most widely spread indigenous varietal on the island. Xynisteri producing low alcohol wines, high acidity, very sort of neutral. And actually this is a little bit more interesting. So with the skin contact, it adds a completely different layer.
It smells like creamsicle ice cream.
Like what?
The orange ice cream.
Creamsicle ice cream.
Creamsicle. You know, it's like orange lolly on the outside and then vanilla ice cream in the middle.
Oh, like an orange split.
Yeah, like a split.
I love a strawberry split.
Oh yeah.
God, it's been a long time since I've thought.
But doesn't it have that little like?
Yeah, I agree.
Yum.
Totally, it does actually.
Because it's got like that sort of like sweet bit, but then the little like crunchy,
citrusy and creamy at the same time.
Yeah.
It's nice, honeyed, but not too much. It's quite nice, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
High acidity, medium tannin, not too much tannin, but it is there and it's present. But I love that it's got this. It's got like a long finish,
yes,
and again you get those sort of layers. So initially, almost honeyed notes. Then you get this sort of orangey. You're right, like orange. Again, it's almost like orange concentrate.
Totally.
Then this sort of creaminess, and then you get this sort of like salty.
Just a little bit in the back.
Yeah. And I think because this grape variety, so even though it's very late ripening, it lacks a bit of acidity, Xynisteri. So I think actually giving it a bit of skin contact, that tannin, it gives that perception of it being fresher as well.
It's also got a little bitter finish.
I really like it. It's almost a little bit spicy on the finish.
Yeah, it's
almost like a little peppery, like white pepper.
It's like cedar at the end.
Like cider?
Cedar wood.
Oh, cedar wood, just checking.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were learning French on me for a
minute.
minute.
Like having a mild French stroke.
You say cedar,
here.
right? Yeah.
Cedar.
French? Cedar.
Cedar.
Oh, yeah.
Cedar.
It's never off the cards, though.
It's true.
We all know that from previous episodes.
Yes. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think actually more people should experiment with this. So the other question that I had for him when I went to Tsiakkas was also the history of what they were vinifying in, the vessels that were being used. Look, okay, you look at this part of the world, you look at Greece, you look at Italy, you look at Spain, but then you look at how much longer the history of winemaking in Greece is, in Cyprus. So we know at the moment, based on what has been found, of course, this could all change tomorrow, like with anything to do with science and history and archaeology. Yeah. But what we know at the moment, or what we believe to be the situation, is that wine originated from around Georgia, from the Caucasus. Right. Even though there's evidence in China, apparently from 7,000 years ago, there is like very strong evidence, 6,000 years of wine production in Georgia consistently. And then what is believed to have happened is that they sort of spread down, so it would have gone through Greece, all through the Maghreb, so Lebanon, Middle East, all of that sort of thing, and then up Sicily first, then to like Italy and Spain, and then France being 2,000. Rhone Valley's got 2,000 years of winemaking versus 6,000 in Georgia. So that gives you a bit of indication how Vitis vinifera moved around, and how how we moved it around.
Like,
this
with their little suitcases, like we're out of here.
Yeah. Exactly, on their boats, bringing their vines. So,
I was imagining the actual vines carrying
suitcases. That would have been really sweet,
blunk, 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 blunk.
A little grapevine, like piling its little roots into the...
Alright, let's get out of here.
That's sweet. But I think so we know that wine had moved that way through Europe. And I was sort of thinking, oh well, that's interesting because the wine history in Cyprus obviously is extensive compared to other places.
Yeah.
Much more than France, but nobody knows about it. Nobody who's there seems to know too much about it, and for many different reasons, mostly political and cultural. A lot of that stuff got left and didn't get passed on, which is a real shame because it was all skills that passed on from person to person. But historically, wines were produced and aged and kept in amphora. So clay as well, yeah. So they were from local clay. So nobody actually is using any yet, but I spoke to a lot of the young guys and everybody is going to be slowly moving back to them. So you see these clay pots, because I kept seeing them in people's gardens, and they're a bit more decorative than the ones from Italy and from Spain actually, and wider. So I just kept saying, keep seeing these clay pots, surely people have been producing wine in them too. And they said, yeah, but it all got lost. Obviously, this all went hand in hand with let's have Syrah, let's have Cabernet, let's have oak barrels. And also that's something that I think more and more comes up in my mind of if I was producing wine, depending where I was in the world. Yeah. You know, like if I'm producing wine in California, why am I buying barrels from all the way from France? Like, I think now...
It's like that imitation thing where it's like, I don't have legitimacy unless I like...
Well, mine is also like thinking about... sustainability and unnecessary use.
Yeah, like why are you travelling? Why paying all that money to like ship all that stuff over? The energy
and why
and
all
the
those resources being used to bring that there when maybe there's
plenty of great oak or trees in the States.
And maybe that's something I think in the future, which I hope to see in a lot of markets like the US. Hopefully they can work on, okay, what can we do to produce oak locally that maybe would give us that same taste, or how can we experiment with these trees? And I think that's something we don't all talk about. We all go, oh, natural wine, it's all about, and we talk about sustainability, but what does that even mean?
What does it actually mean? Yeah, right.
And what is local and what is right? And you know, okay, I might use selected yeast, but maybe I'm using a clay pot that's been made by a guy down the road. Yeah. Like, does that make me less or more sustainable than the guy who's using natural yeast but is buying an oak barrel from like 1,000 metres away, or
totally
10,000 miles away? Sorry, not 1,000 metres. That would be a kilometre. That's not. But you know, I think this is all something now which I think there's
also,
a lot
we don't
of
often think about like action and consequence, where we think like this is gonna be better than that, but then we don't actually think through the consequence of that new choice. Yeah, that sometimes the new choice isn't as good.
Am I going to buy some French mineral water here in Germany, or am I going to run off a cup, like a glass of water from the tap?
Because the tap is fine here.
Yeah,
it has a taste. But I wanted to go back to the smell of this.
Yeah, what do you think of this wine?
I think it's good, and actually, if you just smell it does smell like Haagen-Dazs strawberry ice cream. There's an ice cream thing going on,
and it's like, in a good way.
In a really, it's like crazy Haagen-Dazs strawberry, frozen strawberries. I like it. It's cool too because the smell and the taste are like very different, which I think is. No, it's actually nicer now that it's maybe given it a minute.
No, I think this is a wine that actually
needs a bit of.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit it again in a minute.
Delicious.
Yeah, I actually said to him, I said, this particular wine, you need to make much more of this. This would be amazing, particularly for the export market. People would just jump on this. If there were more people producing wines like this,
much more wine coming at us. Yeah, people would be buying it.
And this particular wine, you know, you can tell, like they care. Look at the packaging, you know, it's quite contemporary actually, and I think, you know, beautiful.
Oh yeah, I like it.
It's nice. So I think
eye-catching, good colour. Yeah. This is a very nice.
And I actually said to him as well. So there are other grape varieties that come up just before we go on to the Zivania. So Mavro, this grape variety that I mentioned, which is kind of quite fruit forward, produces wines with light colour, low tannin, quite fruity, not super complex, but quite fun and sort of easy. And I said to him, I was like, people should be making like a pet now with this. It'd be amazing. This light, easy red. It'd be really fun just to do that. So I think there are lots of things that can be done with the grape varieties that are there. It's just the confidence, and I think that takes also like sort of external sommelier, buyers, importers, also building relationships with these producers, and being able to almost not collaborate or dictate, but like find find a way to have a dialogue in which the producers and the winemakers feel confident take these risks, because for them they will feel like risks. And to know
totally.
that there is somebody that supports them and can help,
Right.
you know, sell the wines on. That's what needs to happen next for Cyprus, I think.
Yeah, very cool.
Are you? What are you thinking about the look of the last bottle?
That it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
It's got that sweet bottle look.
Look at the closure.
Oh, it's a glass stopper.
Mm.
So one that you can put back. 45% alcohol. Lordy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a spirit, true spirit of 45%. Oh, okay. So it's a fortified sweet. Am I?
It's grappa essentially.
Oh yeah, you said it already.
Yeah.
Look who doesn't pay attention. I was like totally in my head with this one. I was like imagining a label for them with like an ice cream cone on it, with like an orange scoop. And
That
a
would be so
strawberry scoop,
fun.
And I like just really graphic.
I love it. You just send it in the post to them.
just be like, there you go.
I've got it, and send me 100 bottles while you're there.
And just write orange on it, like I like the.
Yes.
What's orange? I wonder what orange is in Cypriot.
I don't know. I was like, I'm just like going through my little files in my brain.
The little Rolodex was like.
Yeah, exactly. That is my brain. That is how I process information.
Next time she like looks somewhere else, I'll just imagine the little Rolodex flicking through.
That's totally what it's like though.
Maybe it's more like a Gary Larson cartoon. That's what's happening in my head.
I don't know Gary Larson.
Yeah, you do at the far side.
No, I don't.
Oh, I'll have to show you some later.
Okay.
Like recently, I went to Madrid with my sister, and we stayed at this like design hotel. But it was like it was built in the 90s, so it's like past.
I
its
didn't put
heyday.
too much because I thought you can
No,
just
it's fine.
you can just go for
It's a
more.
very interesting color. Yeah. So we stayed in a room designed by Zaha Hadid.
I saw that.
Amazing, looked like a spaceship. Not very practical. Couldn't find anything in the room. But we went to the bar our final night thinking we'd get a nightcap. We asked the bartender, my sister wanted whatever she wanted, I ordered my thing. So we're just going to bring it up to our room. And the guy was like, no, you can't do that. What? Imagine 400 people running around with drinks in this hotel. So all I
Are there
imagine...
even 400 rooms?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like 13 stories high. But then I was like, it's a Tuesday. There's no one in the bar. It's literally just me and my sister. And all I imagined in my head was like a Gary Larson Far Side cartoon with like all these people like, ooh, like running around with glasses in their hands. And we were both like,
Did he actually say that?
yes. And we were like, we'll use both hands and we will walk carefully to the elevator that's right here. And he was still, no. So we had to order it from room service.
Well, so it was more about you not being able to transport your drink to your bedroom. Imagine all those people colliding with each other. We're all just atoms bouncing into each other all the time. That's mad.
I just imagine you like at the car dealerships. Those like I just imagine.
When has there ever been a hotel
I know 400
where
people.
there have been all these people? Where
Every
there are
guest.
too many people with too many drinks in their hand, making their way
I know.
to their bedroom at the
I
same
was
time.
like, that's a problem you want to have as a hotel.
Yeah.
400
Oh my
people with
god!
cocktails.
Can you imagine the queue at the lift?
But our faces was like.
People will be waiting for 15 minutes to get in that lift. 400 people.
Can you just imagine 400 people running around with drinks in their hands? I was like, I
Well,
used to
yeah.
work in a nightclub. I can, and it's Tuesday night. It's not happening. Like I want an Armagnac. My sister wants like.
That's when you said, "Where's your Rose's love cordial?"
Pry it away from my cold dead hands. Like what a maniac. Yeah.
So you just went to your room and then you're
No.
like,
It
"Hey,
was
sir.
worse actually.
Hey sir, could we have the same drinks we just spoke about?
He told
Can
me
you bring them up?"
that it didn't come from that bar. I was like, bullshit. I know you don't have a whole other bar.
You should have
hidden
got
in
her to order while she supervised. You were like me on the plate. You can't vape here. What are you talking about?
I had to go to
I
the
can see.
reception.
I can see you. I can see you making them from the bar you told me they didn't come
So
from.
I had to I had to go to the reception and then order the drinks and tell them what I wanted. But of course the receptionist doesn't know what the fuck I'm on about. So I had to like Google things and show them to her. She'll write them down. And then literally when I asked her like, is this normal? Like why won't he let us do this? And she was sort of like, yeah.
We can't have 400 people.
No, I
running
think
around.
she was more like he's
a maniac.
terrifying and we just follow his rules. Bizarre.
Was
Yeah.
he? But what was his role?
We don't know. I mean, the day before, I ordered like 3 different glasses of wine. They were out of everything. Like, the woman was
Emily Harman would have been writing a fucking... Can I speak to the operations director, please, about this?
It's alright, I'm gonna... Once I've drawn my cartoon of 400 people running around with cocktails, I'll definitely be posting on booking.com.
Yeah.
Okay, back to this. Delightful colour.
Delightful colour. So we're trying now Zivania. So Zivania is the Cypriot equivalent of grappa, essentially. Grappa, Tsiakkas. So it's a distillated spirit that's made out of grape pomace. So usually after the grapes are pressed, the skins and the seeds, all of that little leftover stuff, that's the mush that's left over, is then taken away and distilled. So this is the way that grappa is made. This is the way that Tsiakkas is made in Georgia as well, and Zivania also made that way. Cognac, you know, so all of this stuff, grape spirits. So this is Xynisteri. This one is a little bit more unusual because actually most Zivanias are clear, like completely clear like white spirits. This one, just for the purpose of the audio, is a golden colour, almost looks like a light Amontillado sort of colour.
It's a very interesting colour when you look at it because it's got kind of a tinge on the edge.
Yeah, it looks like Amontillado. And so this one itself has been kept in barrels, obviously, which is what gives it the colour, but they're old Commandaria barrels, so it's been aged in those barrels for 10 years. Okay. So that barrel aging is what gives it the colour, also the nuttiness that you can smell, maybe the slight honey, sort of sweeter notes as well. What's really nice about this is actually I really enjoy the nose of this spirit, where I really want to go back to it because it's got all those things that I like, where it has that sort of like cognac, Armagnac.
I love all that stuff too. It's like it smells very nice.
But again, this sort of slight little touch of something sort of sweeter behind it, even though it's dry. Obviously, there's a bit of a kick. It's
like that. It's yeah, it is.
But
hot in my mouth.
Umami.
Totally.
Because it's so nut. It's like
I shouldn't have done that swill. I was like,
did you?
I did a quick like.
Yeah,
I rolled it around just.
Yeah, with spirits, just keep them in your mouth.
But I just did one. It's like that habit because I'm in a wine glass.
Yeah, it's like muscle memory.
You're like,
it's the same thing.
I did one swish and then I was like,
no. It's the same thing that happens. So this is an issue that sommeliers have.
I do it with everything.
One is like when you've been tasting wine too much, you start swirling your water.
Yeah.
Or you start like you just did. You like gargle your spirit. And it's the same thing that most humans do when they get onto an escalator that's no longer moving. No, because you're going to go on it and then you're anticipating that it's going to move, and then you're like, oh no, it's not moving, and then you change your pace. How do you not notice it next time you go on a non-moving escalator? As soon as you put your foot down on the metal, you're anticipating, and then you're like, oh yeah. It takes you just like. It's like 15 minutes adjustment, even if you know it's not moving. You still, your muscles and your body is preparing to walk on it differently. Same thing. Anyway, so this is the equivalent of grappa. I think this is amazing.
Yes,
end of the meal, cheese. Quite similarly, actually, in terms of cuisine-wise, there's a lot of commonality between Cyprus, a little bit of Georgia, where they have these. You can have cheese, and then you have this thing in Georgia which is called chuchella, which is nuts that have then been set in the nuts are attached by string, then they're dipped into this it's almost like a jelly because it's a thickened grape juice paste. So it's like grape juice with corn flour or flour, so it's thickened, and then it dips in almost like a candle, and then they look like anal beads actually.
Benoit beads.
Not Benoit beads.
Oh, okay.
Because Benoit balls are the little.
I'm
revealing too much on the podcast.
She's revealing a lot right now.
They're the golden balls, but they look
the ones on a string.
Exactly.
The string. I've been misnaming those other ones then.
Yeah. That's for the after hours show. So so the
Miss Harman is nasty.
Graham Norton, I'm calling out to you right now. This is like Channel 4 when he was early days, when he used to have Betty. Do you remember that? Graham Norton. There was always an old woman, Betty, and he'd get like sex toys out and ask
Really?
Betty, there was like the moving tongue, like Betty, do you use this? It was really funny. She's like 70 or something. Anyway, that's all I know. Nothing else. And yeah, so anyway, these dip nuts that look, let's say candles. Anyway, you have them in Georgia, they're sold on the roadside, and they're quite big because they're walnuts. But then I saw them, and the first thing I saw in Cyprus, I'm like, oh my god, there's those things that you see in Georgia, Chuchella. Yeah. And I think they're called sushuka or something like that in Cypriot.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's exactly the same, but they actually use almonds and they put a bit of rose water into the mix. So it's set, it's hard.
Yeah, yum.
But actually, they're a little bit nicer with the rose water actually, because sometimes it's a bit pasty. Water. So at the end of the meal, like have some cheese or before the meal, and then you can have these sort of Chuchella equivalents cut up really, really nice. So like that sort of, imagine that with this, and obviously huge.
Too bad the nut shop isn't open next door. We could grab some of the. They have some good.
Have you got any grape juice we can dip these in?
No, they've got all kinds of like stuff over there.
Alright, okay.
Good stuff.
Anyway, so I probably had too much of that, so we should probably wrap this up because we don't need to talk any more about these exotic
dipped nuts on a string. So yeah, this has been great. That. All of these have been fab. I'm definitely thinking I might just email him just to send a little.
Yeah, you should.
Hey, what's up? Should make this.
I'll just do an introduction to you. I know him.
It'd be great. So these were fab. Definitely gonna have a peek and see if I can find some stuff online. And have you been drinking? Have you had a piece of Cypriot wine? If you have,
also send me your questions. Anything you have, because I did try a few other different Indigenous varietals, and we'd love to know. I think particularly for our UK audience, because we do have a large. Actually, the UK is our biggest audience at the moment. Thanks, guys, and Team GB. Ugh.
It's embarrassing to say that now.
And that's not going. And please let us know any questions, any tips. If you're going to Cyprus, you want to know where to go, you want to know where to eat.
Don't ask me, ask her.
Yeah, but we collectively will help you.
The royal way.
Yes.
So until next time, you can find our gorgeous tote bags here pictured in the video. You can find them at juice.show. You can find us at Twitter.
At juice_podcast, and on Instagram.
At juice.podcast. Took me a second. Juice.podcast. And until next week, I'm Guen Douglas.
And I'm Emily Harman.
Cheers!
Yamas!
Oh la la! So international.